Ethically Questionable is electrified by Polestar, the Swedish electric performance brand created to accelerate the shift to zero tailpipe emissions. Their approach to transparency means every car they sell has a carbon impact report so you can drive with a conscience. Hey guys, welcome back to Ethically Questionable. I'm your host, Jamila Brown, and this week we are bringing you a live episode, our very first live episode that we recorded in New York City with chef, presenter, and James Beard Award winner Sophia Roe. Guys, I think that Sophia might be the funniest person I have ever met, like, no lie. We were laughing the entire time. And I was sure that this was going to be a conversation about food, but instead we get into all sorts of topics from politics to boycotts to AI to $80 rotisserie chicken, y'all. I mean, I'm going to skip the news again this week because this convo is just too good to cut short. But I will say it really got me thinking about the different lens, I guess, that my fellow Americans are experiencing things through versus back here in the UK. Like, I don't know that we're being plagued by, like, data centers and, like, truly outlandish food prices in the way people in the States are. Not to say that we don't have our own problems, but look, let me not go on a rant. Let's get into the episode. Ethically Questionable Live with Sophia Roe. Let's go. Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Good morning. I'm Jamila Brown. This is Sophia Roe.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today for Sustainability for Breakfast. Recently, I launched a podcast called Ethically Questionable. So this is my very first time doing a live episode of Ethically Questionable, where I get to chat with incredible people about all the things in their industry that are changing for the better and all the things that we can push on and think about as we navigate our lives in a way where we're trying to do better for people and better for planet. So that is why we are actually recording. Now, with all of that background out of the way, let's start the show. All right. Okay, so good morning, Sophia Roe.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for being here today.
Of course, this is wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Sophia Roe. I am a chef. I'm a lot of things. I used to be a restaurant cook, so I don't do that anymore. I moved to New York in 2011, 2012, 11 Madison Park, per se, did all that stuff. And then I was a private chef for a really long time. And I mean, like, a private chef. Like, not like, this is a day in the life of me as a private chef. That shit's not real, by the way. Like NDAs. Like, I worked for people that I can't talk about.
I was just going to ask, like, Beyonce, but I guess you had an NDA.
No, I never worked with Beyonce. But so I was a private chef, and I mean, it was actually really rewarding because working in a restaurant, you're kind of like you're at the mercy of like who you work for and their sort of palate. But when you work for a family, you get, I don't know, there's something special about making food for a person, like making their favorite thing every day. You know, it was really, really wonderful. I loved that. And I also strictly worked with families that had kids. So I'm the oldest of four. I really like making food for kids. So I did that for years. Memorial Day to Labor Day, I would be in the Hamptons. Like, it was just like full throttle out there.
Amazing.
And it was amazing until it wasn't. I got really burnt out. And so then I kind of cold quit that. I was only 27, 28 years old. I think I was 28 years old. And I was just kind of floating around. I was doing like private events and, you know, just doing kind of like what I'm doing now, but before it felt financially lucrative. Like, there were not like brand activations. Do you remember when there was like panels all the time? There was like a fairly new thing. So, I want you to go back to like when Instagram didn't have Instagram stories. There was no stories. There was no DMs. Okay. And what was it? Not TikTok. What's the other one? Snapchat. Oh, Snapchat was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like a time, right? So I had a friend who worked at Milk Makeup, and she was like, hey, they're doing like some casting. You should come, because she knew I was like in between jobs. I was like, girl, I'm not going to no casting. She's like, just come. It'll be fun. I walk in. This is when Milk Studios and meat packing is just like a sea of like models. I was like, I'm leaving. I'm not doing this. And she's like, no, you're like shortlisted for like a different role. I was like, okay, shortlist. So I get all the way to the end of this short list. I meet Georgie Gravel, who's like one, and Xana Rossi, and like they're like the founders, and they're like, "You are so not right for this job, but you're kind of hilarious. So let's try to like work together." And I'm like, "This is a makeup company. Like I don't know anything about this, but cool. I need a job. Hire me." And so they come down and they're like, "So we think that social media is going to be the big future for companies, and we want to hire you as our social media manager." And I'm like, "What is a social media manager?" Like, okay, like I guess I'll do that. And they're like, "Well, you have an Instagram. It has 50,000 followers. Like that's a lot." Like, and I was like, "It is." Like to me, I was like, great. This company had maybe 150,000 followers at the time on Instagram. They were on the forefront of like this idea of like Instagram stories. They knew that feature was getting launched. They knew all of that stuff was happening. They wanted to get in front of it. So they were like, "We want to hire you." And I was like, "I am not qualified for this job." And I will never forget her looking at me and saying, "Just don't tell anybody." And I was like, okay.
I love that. That's actually a true ally, because how many men apply for jobs that they are not qualified for all
period,
the time, nonstop,
period.
and don't even think twice
totally.
about it.
But I gotta say, like, my resume was like garde manger, like saucier. Like, I literally didn't know anything. I was like a 2-time college dropout. Like, you guys, I was not qualified for this job. On my first day, I'll never forget, this girl, lovely girl, Farrah Marcus, walks me through and she's like, "Okay, so you should do an email and you need to CC everybody on it so that we can do like this welcome email to get you acquainted with the team." And I looked at her and I go, "CC? What's CC?" I was like, "I don't know."
Call me chef?
I was like, "CC? Yes." I was like, "I don't know." She's like, like a CC, like in the email. I was like, "No." That's how not qualified, okay? They should have sent me out of there, all right? However, what I learned, okay, I learned quickly. That was a year of my life where I really learned how to be media ready. I learned how to take a really great picture. I learned how to work with AD, with an art department, with a creative department. I learned how to talk on camera, right? Because that was my job. And that knowledge and that like year and a half really set me off for the rest of my career. So I was on the Random Milk Makeup Instagram, and this woman named Marissa Caputo sees me on the Instagram and sends an email to my producer and is like, "Who is that Sophia Roe girl? Like, she's amazing. I'd love to have coffee with her." So I was like, "Okay, Michelle." I don't even call her Marissa. I literally get her name wrong. It's awful. I'm like, "Yeah, let's have coffee, Michelle." So we go have coffee. She's like, "I want to be your manager." And I'm like, "I don't know what that is, but like, cool." She sends me some contract. I sign it. Crazy. Like, am I okay? I just signed this contract. I'm like, "Sure, be my manager." I don't even know what that is. She brings me this job. It's with Club Monaco. And it's this panel. It's Cindy Ramirez, Vaughn Verena of Gossamer, and Alyssa Coscarelli. And all I'm supposed to do is go to this panel and tell my story. And I'll get $1,000. And I was like, what? Let's go.
That's it. Quit the day job now.
So I did that, and I quit my day job.
Yeah, of
I
course,
said, "Bye,
why not?"
Milk Makeup. Love you. See you never." And then I became a freelancer. And that was the beginning of me sort of pitching myself as like, "Hey, like, you're J. Crew. I get that. We can do an in conversation, but we could do a dinner. We could do an event. Like I can do something food related to sort of tie in whatever marketing message that you have." And so that became my job. And then the pandemic happened, which was crazy. And so nobody was going out to eat. No one was doing food things. It was really scary. Danny, my COO, and I, she started in like 2019, summer of 2019. We were like, damn, we were really on a roll, doing a lot of events, and then suddenly we were doing nothing. But through it all, I've been this person who's been really obsessed with value chains and supply chains and where food comes from. I come from Florida. And I grew up in very food insecure. I grew up in and out of foster care and was well aware that I lived as a kid like with orange groves in my backyard. But when I would go to school, there'd be like boxes of oranges, like product of Venezuela. And I'm like, this is so
weird.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm like 8 years old and I think this is weird, right? So pandemic happens and what do we get? Crazy value chain, crazy. I call supply chains value chains because these are things of value, but crazy food supply chain issues. And it felt like food news felt more important than ever.
Yeah.
And so then I got an email from the president of Vice at the time, which is like RIP, probably for a good reason.
Oh.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
I trust you.
And they were like, we want to do a food news show. And so then I hosted a show called Counter Space. We did 2 seasons.
Cool.
We got 4 Emmy nominations.
Boom.
It was great.
Yes.
Sad. I was the first Black woman ever to be nominated for an Emmy in the culinary category, which is sad. It's so sad because when I think culinary, I think Black woman.
Right.
That's what I think.
Right.
Like, hello, Edna Lewis, hello.
Yes.
And then so we did that. And I've been kind of just in the food media space ever since. I know that was long-winded, but I think it's important
No, I love
based
that
on the
context.
conversation that we're going to have.
Yeah, I love that context.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been around food for a long time and thinking about these value chains, supply
Sure.
chains for a long time. I think, kind of rightly so, that food is probably one of the most impactful sectors when we think about sustainability, social
Sure.
justice, equity. How have you seen conversations around this change in your time?
I mean, I think
in the
people
industry.
overall, I think consumers are a lot more mindful. Like when I say used to be my best piece of advice. What's a piece of advice for people? I would say pay attention. I think people do that. I think for the most part, I don't think anybody wants to be a dirtbag and
No.
go out there and buy dirtbag stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I really do think people are wanting to do their best for the most part, which is really interesting. I think people are more mindful than ever about what is in stuff, where they buy things,
Yeah.
how they buy things. I think that's a really interesting thing. I think that not everywhere, but I think we're getting better. And, we were having that conversation, which I have notes about it, which I. Forgive me for.
No, whip 'em
I
out. We
really
wanna
was
hear.
but this idea of profoundly immoral action, but something that's totally legal, I think it's a profoundly immoral action to buy iced coffee in a plastic cup. But people do it. I'll do it in a pinch. It's a totally legal thing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I heard Gia Tolentino talking about this on a podcast, and it really stuck out to me because there are some things that are, even with my daughter, this is a thing that you shouldn't do, but people do it. You know what I mean? We should do our best and we should buy food that's as locally sourced as possible. However, yes, there's a bodega and there's food in there, and it's probably not locally sourced. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like people are mad at where they're mad at who they're supposed to be mad at.
Yeah.
I remember doing this post talking about sourcing of the food, and I said, listen, it's a privilege to even be able to be mindful of that, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And this woman being this woman doing a post kind of in response to that being I'm a single mom and sometimes the only thing I can do is feed my kids hot dogs or whatever, right? And some vegan woman was attacking her and was you're teaching your kids. This is awful what you're teaching your kids. And I'm you guys are yelling at each other. This is a top conversation.
That's it, isn't it?
Why are you? This isn't even about you guys.
Why are these the options that exist in our system?
Yeah, we're not even I'm not saying your anger's not warranted, but we're not mad at the right people. I think overall we're all at this point mad at the right people. I think the problem now is what do we do about it?
Yeah.
I don't think people trust the government. I mean, it's I said, that new Marist poll from 2026, only 17% of the people actually trust the government. And I would love to meet those 17% of those people. I would love to sit down and talk to them about as to why they believe in why they trust the American government.
Yeah.
But only 17%. That's down from in 1968. It was 71% of people.
Oh,
actually,
wow. Complete inverse, actually.
Totally different trust in the government. So I don't know. I feel we all know who to be upset about. I just think we're all really confused about what to do about it, which I think is the ethical. That's why we're here.
Yeah,
Talk about
exactly.
that stuff.
Do you think, though, that, because people are talking about it a lot more, obviously, right? It's becoming more part of the social consciousness, what's in our food, where's our food coming from? There are more options coming to the market.
Totally.
Do you think that, pricing and opportunity and things like that are reflected in that? Do you think it's becoming easier, or, is it still just too expensive to get better food?
I mean, listen, we in America have a government, our president won't even admit that food is expensive. Well,
that's a good point.
This man doesn't even have the gall to say, yeah, we have a price problem going on. So I think, listen, we can have a bunch of conversations. There was some rotisserie chicken drama that was going on with Eater and Infatuation. Did you see that?
What was that?
People are so furious about an $80 half chicken.
$80 for rotisserie chicken.
Okay. Let me tell you something. That is a problem. There should be no $80 rotisserie chickens. However, I think a $40 rotisserie chicken is valued. I think that is fine. I think that is a fair. If you're if
Is that
if,
right?
if,
Hold on? Can I just caveat something? I didn't say this, guys. I live in London, right? So food in London is never $40 for a chicken. Mm-hmm. Is that normal here?
It's normal here. It's getting normal. And the reason, this is why I'll tell you, this is the only way that a $40...
Plus tax.
A $40, oh no, plus mini tax, plus fees. Plus fees and
God.
tax and insurance.
Oh my
Okay?
God. Okay.
So the only reason the only time a $40 rotisserie chicken makes any sense at all is where is the chicken sourced? How is it prepared? Also, you have to take into account the people that are making it. Are they paid fairly? Are they right? Are they paid a living wage?
Yeah.
I think it's important to consider that all of these things happening at once is why there's a bottleneck. We want to make sure people are paid fairly. We want to make sure people have money to childcare, right? To take care of themselves. We want to make sure the farmer who utilized all the resources that he has to make this chicken a good, delicious, yummy, non-antibiotic, pasture-raised chicken. We want to make sure he's paid, he's taken care of, he has a quota. And to do that in the United States right now, that chicken must cost $40. So I think again, it's who are we mad at? We're mad at the wrong people.
Yeah.
It's not that we can't be. I think we need to be mad at the cost of living.
Yeah.
And full throttle, everybody needs to be mad at it.
Yeah.
We need to be mad at the fact that the cost of living is such that a chicken for everybody to be paid fairly must cost $40 plus tax.
Can I ask a question? How much does an unethical chicken cost in America?
It's $5.
No. I mean, $5 at Costco.
It costs $5. But you have to think about where that chicken came from.
No, of course.
Where that chicken came from. The people that were responsible for farming and slaughtering that chicken, were they paid at all? Right? Are they protected at all? It's the same with, this is how I think of, what does a shirt, who made the shirt that's 69 cents? Who made that shirt? Where did that shirt come from? Where did the product come from? You know what I mean? It's the same story.
One of the things I also think about with the upfront cost of things is the longer term cost that maybe you're not realizing. So if you're consistently eating a $5 chicken versus a $40 chicken, what is that doing to your body and your long term health?
I mean,
where's the cost down the line?
And yes, your body, but I urge us to extend the olive branch outside of our body, because I think people are generally selfish and they want to think about themselves and vanity and all the things. And yes, a $5 chicken that's pumped full of antibiotics, that's been fed an awful diet, is not good for your body, but it's not good for the planet either. It's not good for our home either.
No, of course
and so I urge people to the earth is an extension of our body. It's the only home that we have. Please don't even talk to me about this we're going to be on the moon and we're going to be doing I won't be on the moon, okay? Maybe somebody will be on some station on the moon. I will not be on the moon. Jamila, you're not going to be on the moon.
I'm not going to the moon.
Okay?
I'm not going on the moon.
Please. We're going to have space stations and food. It's all of this just feels very we have the tools to do things here and now.
Yeah.
We really do.
That's true.
And I urge people to be mad at the right entity.
Yeah.
There's an entity that we can be frustrated at.
Yeah.
And we can talk about voting, but we can also talk about stealing from Whole Foods.
Stealing from Whole Foods. Okay.
Which listen, there's this whole discourse going on too about stealing
if
from
the chicken's $40 or maybe it's $80 at Whole Foods.
I think we have to find a way, if we're here talking about ethics, an ethical decision, you were is Chipotle ethical? Is Whole Foods ethical? Do I care? Is it that big of a deal to go through the self-checkout at Whole Foods when you have 5 lemons but say you only have 3? You know how many people do that? I don't care if you do that. I literally don't care because who cares? I literally don't care. But it's we were just talking about. It's kind of what you're doing. What you're doing when you do that is you're doing this. You know
right.
What I mean?
Yeah.
It's private. It's we all. It goes back to our disbelief in the powers that be. We don't believe the government is going to create regulations or any kind of guardrails for this stuff. So our small, tiny way of saying "F you" to the man is saying we got 3 lemons instead of 5. Or these tiny little baby things that we think that we can do, where we shop. Yes, you can make it. That really does make a difference. But in the end, we all have if everybody just,
If we all stole from Whole Foods together at the same time.
like I said, let's
Then
all
they'd-
just not pay our Con Edison bill. I'm just saying. If everybody tomorrow on the first of the month just doesn't pay their electricity bill, what are we gonna do? That's never gonna happen. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like, and I'm not saying that we should. I'm just saying the collective. We're all upset about this thing. We're all upset about prices. We're
Yeah.
all upset about this
Yeah.
stuff.
But
And
what are we
so-
doing about it?
And
Is your point?
I
Is your
just feel
bigger
like
point?
we just feel impossible. Like it's impossible. We don't know
Okay.
what to do.
Yeah, that is a shame, that sense of like hopelessness, I think.
I mean, we
But
have
do you
people.
feel that shifting? I think that there's like a pendulum in these things, right? So of course, like right now is a challenging time. And I can only speak from London, truly. But of course, like a year and a bit ago when the new administration came in, we felt it over there. I was actually at Buckingham Palace the day that the election was. And I was like getting super drunk and like crying because I was really upset about it. And I was there with a bunch, it was like a pre-COP. COP is like a big UN sustainability conference.
Sure.
It was like a pre-COP conference. And there were a bunch of like, you know, politicians and like, you know, all the sort of like, you know, people you would expect there, I guess, like white men who work in policy and like energy at the sustainability conference, like ridiculous. And me. So I was there drinking a lot of champagne and crying. And I met this MP. And I said, look, I can't talk to you right now. I'm very upset, but like, let's catch up in a few months. And so I went and saw him in Parliament maybe like 2 months later. And he was saying, so tell me, like, how are people in your community feeling about, you know, sustainability? And I'm like, well, really depressed, right? Because I feel like we've all spent so much time in the sort of culture sector, like trying to make all these changes with our brands and with, you know, our communities and all this stuff. And we felt like we were on such a roll, and now we've just like ran straight into a wall. Like we feel really, really fucking depressed, actually. And this man like looked me in my eye and he said, that is crazy to me that you feel that way because everyone in Parliament is super hype. And we feel like we have an opportunity now to be leaders, and we know there's so much innovation down the pipeline, and there's so much funding coming, and we're making change, and da-da-da-da. And it actually really shifted my mindset of my reality, I suppose. And, like, there's a lot of, you know, influence that comes from the media, surely, about, like, oh, my gosh, things are so bad, and things are so grim. But what they're not highlighting is, like, actually, there's a lot of really good stuff happening, too. And I try to lean into that a lot. And I try to highlight those things because it gives me this hope, but it also makes me feel empowered and, like, actionable. And, like, I can affect change and I can, you know, redirect. And then it comes back down to my own personal stuff, right? I can redirect my funds from $5 chicken at Costco to, like, maybe it doesn't need to be chicken. Maybe it's something else that's a better use of my money and actually is something I enjoy much more anyways. That isn't what I've just been programmed to, like, buy chicken, whether it's 5 or 40, you know.
Everybody can change their mind, right?
Yeah.
Like you can
Mindset shift.
You can wake up and feel hopeless, or you can wake up, feel hopeless, and say, "But you know what? I'm going to keep digging," which I think is why we're all here. Like, I think that the like, everything is so terrible, you don't have time, you know, AI is going to take your job, like all of this stuff, like, all, you know, like all of that, like, you can make that your algorithm if you want to. You know, you really can. I see it. It's just like this victim addiction thing. I don't believe that we all don't have time. We do.
Yeah.
If we took all the time that we scrolled in the day and did something else with it, like, I don't know, made a meal for ourselves, right? Slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
My friend Trinity just came out with a book, and in it, this beautiful sentence, like, the goal of this book is to make sitting down to eat a meal feel possible. It's just not exciting, not great, not amazing, just possible.
Not everything
you know?
needs to be, like, dopamine fueled.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we are just consistently told that we don't have time, so we believe it. You know? We are consistently told that things are so awful, so we believe it. I think in a lot of ways things are, but that doesn't mean everything is.
Yeah,
I think there's a ton of things that are awful, but there's a ton of things that aren't.
Yeah.
It's the equal opposite. It's equal opportunity for whatever kind of thing you want.
Totally great.
You know? So
I also feel like I'm getting a bit conspiracy theorist here now, but we're going to go for
That's
it. Why
okay.
not? Fuck it. We're in New York.
Yeah.
So, look, I also think that a lot of the reason why we feel this sense of, like, doom and gloom and despair is because it actually really benefits the people in power for us to feel that way.
Correct.
Like, there's these, like, really famous examples of, like, you know, big oil, right? Like, basically fueling and pumping cash into PR companies to, like, try to convince you that, like, your carbon footprint is the problem and, like, electrification isn't possible and, you know, all these things to basically keep money in their pockets.
Sure.
But, like, all of those things are possible and exist already.
Yep.
And they're, like, incentivized to, like, slow the transition, right? And they put that pressure and that guilt and that doom onto you so that you're, like, less incentivized to, like, engage with it. I think that exists in all sort of big systems.
I mean, even just like Steve Bannon, like, he will come out and say, like, "Oh yeah, we're flooding the zone." We are making you so stressed out with the news. We're doing crazy stuff every day that you become compliant because you're tired.
Yeah.
You know, you would never oppress a population that you weren't scared of, right? It's like we have to make these people exhausted. We have to beat everybody. We have to beat these people down and make them feel so weak and so tired and so helpless they become compliant. They become weak. They become scared. They become like
Inactionable.
malaise, inactionable. I don't know what to do, so I just do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's
Overwhelmed.
the whole. Yeah, like that's the whole idea. Like, yes, that is the whole idea. I think that is like the building blocks of slavery. You don't oppress people that you're not scared of. You oppress people that you know are amazing. You keep those people down on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Since we're not really talking about food anymore anyways.
Sorry. It's all connected.
Well, this is actually a good point, though. You were posting some really interesting stuff on your Instagram the other day about AI. I was fascinated because I obviously think of you as like a food person, and not everybody needs to stay in their box. Definitely not. And actually, that's another part of the system trying to hold us back. But I was fascinated by your stories, asking everybody about their thoughts on AI and sharing some of your own. So I'd love for you to open up about it.
You know, the thing is that I'm deeply interested in my just unbelievable resistance to it. My disgust with it. And I wanted to really like investigate that because I'm a really open-minded person. Like I have to be to do my job well.
Yeah.
And I was like, instead of just being like, forget AI. Like I'm like, no, I am resistant towards this. Let's look into this. Let's get the Claude. Let's get the ChatGPT. Let's just do it. Let's learn about it. Let's get the AI quotient up. And after doing that and after talking with people, I think it's such bullshit. I still think it's bullshit. I don't get it. Now, the caveat here, in my field, I'm not making proposals and PDFs and like, I don't do that. That's not part of my job.
I guess food is very like real and tangible.
It's very insular, right? I don't
make
need
food
that.
online.
Yeah, like I enjoy sending emails. Like I
Do
don't.
you CC people now?
Yeah, CC you after this. In London. No, I like to write my own thank you notes to
I see what you mean,
people. I don't need ChatGPT to tell me what to do with a tomato, onion, and a green pepper because I have cookbooks and my brain. I worry. I work with a lot of Gen Z, and wow, so brilliant in one way, but just so not in another way, in other ways. Just I worry about and when I say Gen Z, I want to be very specific because I think we just, Gen Z, millennial, like I'm talking right now, having a conversation with an 18 to 25-year-old. Like, let's just not say Gen Z anymore. Let's be age.
Yeah.
This is a demographic of people that went through COVID.
Challenging.
Okay, these really formative years where you know what happens when you're 18 to 25? You fail. You fail in public. You drop out of college. You fail classes. You get told no. That didn't happen for them. They was just right here. They were right here. They believe that if you are not viewed, you are not valued. Right? So I want to have grace for this demographic. Right? I really do, because a lot of what happened to them isn't their fault. It was really hard.
Yeah. And I think also, I guess on that point, the not viewed, not valued is they have a really like polished view of what needs to go out, right? Like they're curating what people think of them at all times, and now that's translating via AI as well.
Yes. It's like they are making a world that works for them because they know that they can, because it is possible to do so, right? And so I think there's also this just inherent fear that the AI is creating this, like, it's creating this person that believes that this companion is the better companion, right? And the ease, I think we need to really also talk about, like, why is it so important to be so efficient and so productive? And, like, what is that important for? You know, like, I'm at a place in my life, I have a 9-month-old baby. Success to me means feeling rested, Success to me means feeling I have time to go slow. And then when I say that to people, they're like, well, that's why AI is going to save you so much time, right? AI is taking the thing that I'm working so hard to have. The slow life, I think there's a lot of like back and forth about if the slow life is good or bad. Listen, to me, when I think slow life, I think 30 minutes to boil some beans, cook up some whatever I'm making, and sit down and eat it. And I don't believe that AI is saving you that much. It's saving you so much time that now you have time to do that. Whatever time it's saving you from, that's not what you're doing with it.
No, it's true.
You know
what
I mean?
I find that in myself, and I think also like anecdotally with like my friends and stuff, who also are running businesses and have work and have kids and, busy lives, that they are using AI to save them time on specific tasks, but then filling up the rest of the time doing more tasks. So it's just that now my clients get like 30 things done from me a week instead of 2, and they still pay me the same amount of money.
I mean, it's also,
and I'm really stressed.
That's what I mean. It's like, I also think too, because this is like the elephant in the room, the whole like left behind thing. When I asked this message to my community, God, I must have gotten thousands of messages. Like my Instagram was like crashing, but I kept hearing this specifically from women. This like, I don't want to be left behind, and I would always ask, left behind from what? Like, what do you want to be? What table do you want to be a part of? Like, is it like scarcity? Is it fiscally left behind? Is it you don't want to be left behind from the skill set itself? You want to know how to use these things? Because like, listen, I think that we should know how to use these things. I think the scariest thing would be, I don't like AI. I don't want anything to do with it. So you don't learn it. You don't understand it. You don't learn how to use it, right? Like the second I was resistant to AI, I downloaded it all. I got the Claude, I got the ChatGPT, I got it all. I was paying for it because I want to figure this out.
I think it's interesting that you keep personifying it.
Sorry?
You keep like calling Claude a somebody and not like an it.
Well, they talk about it like it's like this friend, and I'm like, here's how I feel about it. Like when you say buy a sweater, or when I say to you, let's go buy a sweater, your idea of that sweater is like a HTML code. It's like a Pinterest. It's a Pinterest. Like you go to Pinterest and you're like, cool. The girls are taking a picture of their closet, putting it into Claude, and Claude will tell them what to wear. Oh. When I close my eyes and I say sweater, I go, is there buttons? Is it a cardigan? Is it a Christmas sweater? Is it an oversized sweater? Is it big? Is it chunky? Is it, because like I'm using my brain to think about a sweater. Like it's a simple, do you know what I mean? And so this is what I mean when I say that like AI can be a problem, is it's actually making you not able to think for yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
And it specifically in the food world is very scary. Them AI recipes don't even be working anyway. I'm like, what do you? They don't even work. They don't even work.
I have to tell you. So I'm not the cook in my house.
Don't
my
worry
partner
about it.
is
We'll
for
talk
sure.
about it later.
Thank you. Well, now I've got you.
That's right.
I won't be asking ChatGPT at all.
Me.
But so I said to my partner, I said, look, I'm gonna make us like a shopping list and like recipes for the week using ChatGPT.
Don't do that.
You don't love that part, I know.
hate it.
But I actually don't love it either because we did try that a few months ago, and I just said, look, here it is. Download the PDF. Here you go. We bought the stuff. He went to go cook the recipes. He was like, Jamila, what the fuck is this?
They don't work.
This isn't cookable, and like none of the things on the list are actually in here. And like I think people becoming so we haven't done that again. But what it's clear to me is that you can't actually rely on it that much. Like if you're gonna. I mean, look, I know you're not using it, period. But like, if you're going to use it, you have to go back through and do the work on it anyways.
Am I crazy? Get a cookbook.
Yeah, well, yes.
And read it with your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Open it. Go like this.
Do you have a cookbook?
I know. I've been working on that thing forever. I also just had a baby, and then, Well, it's funny to talk about the election. I found out I was pregnant the day of the election. Oh. Brutal. It was
hormones.
Also my birthday. Ugh.
Your birthday?
My birthday's always it's always sometimes on election day. The last day that November 5th was my birthday was 2016, which was another, I'm like, I need a do-over, double time. Okay? Like it was brutal times. It was dark.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get away. Listen, AI to me is a thing that we all should understand how it works. We should understand that people in every industry are using it, and if we feel reservations about it, I think that's licensed to go even deeper. But if you're feeling like I don't have a place for this, then don't use it. I have a hard line in my company. We do not use it company-wide. That doesn't mean we don't Google things, right? That's like a you know what I mean? Like
Google gives you an AI answer at the top.
it
now.
does, but that ain't it.
You can turn
got
it
to
off,
dig deeper.
maybe.
You can turn it off.
Can you?
You can turn it off, but also that isn't the answer we're really looking for anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And if it is, like what's the capital? You know, like what's the capital of Portugal? Right? Like something like that is a different story than using AI to. Here's something I think is like ethically wrong: using AI to write your Substack when people pay for it. You can go fuck yourself.
Also, it
That is
sounds like
crazy to me.
AI, right?
I
like,
mean, you
it
know,
reads like
yeah, you can
AI.
read it. But I've seen this. I had a conversation with a person that I cannot talk. I can't do this because I care about this person. Yeah. And I was asking them about productivity. I said, this is so crazy that you do a Substack newsletter daily. How are you able to do that? Really, just me being, I'm a new mom. I'm on Substack. How do you do this? Oh, girl, it's just Claude. You just like put, so cavalier. I'm like,
don't
baby girl,
people-
you got 15,000 subscribers. You got you have paywall.
No.
Do your people know that you're using Claude to do
They
your
don't know.
Substacks?
Hold on. Can we just get a show of hands? Can you guys tell when something's written by AI, like on LinkedIn? Everybody can.
Everybody in here is
Why are
very
people
smart.
paying? Oh, damn.
There was like a new article in New York Times about this.
You can't tell anymore.
Because they're just, I don't
dark.
know. But this is what I'm talking about. This is, you know what?
I think
How about this? This is what I think. I have to say.
Okay.
For anybody who does a Substack, leave your typos in. Leave
There
them
you
in.
go.
Leave in the run-on sentences. Because you know what? As me, I'll pay for that. I'll pay to know that it's real. Leave it in. Leave the chicken scratch in. I'm also in this place too where I'm like going like full like Stephen King. Like bring back legal pads. I'm about to literally, I'm not kidding, I'm about to Edna Lewis it. I'm about to write it all and then take photos of it and then take videos of me writing it to show people that I'm writing my shit because I really do feel like we have lost the plot fully. And it's very, very frustrating. Cooking is a survival skill. We are the only species that cooks for now. Okay?
What's gonna be the next species?
I don't know.
The robots.
I don't know. But I'm listen, for now, we're the only species that does it.
Okay.
So when we say that we don't
Killer
have
whales
time,
are pretty smart.
You know what I mean? Don't even get me started on octopus. I can't even eat them anymore because they're so smart.
No,
you know
don't
what?
do
We'll
it.
talk after. It's like my daughter's favorite food, and I'm like, not for long.
What, your 9-month-old eats octopus? Well, she's got a chef
She's
mom.
bougie as hell. I
You're
don't even want to talk about her.
Okay, all right.
Anyways, I just when we say what we're saying when we say we don't have time to learn to cook, it makes me sad. I really could cry about it. The national dish in Puerto Rico is like ketchup on rice. Ketchup.
No.
When you go to Puerto Rico and you see what is available, it is like oppression by proxy of bouillon cube. This entity has made us so addicted to work, so obsessed with money because we have to be, right? And what we lose, we're not just losing time with our kids, we're losing the ability to feed ourselves. We're losing the ability to teach our kids how to cook because everybody says, I don't know how to cook. So your babies don't know how to cook. And what you lose, it's not like, we're just losing some grandma's recipes. You're losing the ability to feed yourself. It's major. I'm not attacking you. We'll talk later because I feel like everybody can cook. You can cook.
Listen, maybe you'll hate this. Maybe we should put this in the ethical questionable part. So in London, they have these like food box recipe delivery services.
Love it.
Gusto.
Gorgeous.
Hello,
Gorgeous.
I don't know what they're called here.
Gorgeous.
But that actually really got me into cooking.
No, but babe, you're picking up a pan. You're reading.
I
with
was
your
chopping
eyeballs.
things.
That's what I'm saying.
John couldn't believe it. He
Lots
was
of
like, "Who is this
choppy.
person, and what have you done with my wife?"
Let's more of this. I'm not saying you need to be throwing down 5 components, 3 sauces. You don't need to be doing what I do. In fact, don't do that. Because it's just going to stress you out. It's not your job. You're not supposed to be a chef.
Yeah.
You're not a chef. It's okay. You don't need to be a chef. I think we need to resist this. This is another thing that the Gen Z, when I talk to these 18 to 25-year-olds, they want to be the best so bad. And it breaks my heart.
They feel like they have to really stand out at
The
everything.
inability to fail. They don't know how to fail. It's heartbreaking. Gen Z gets again, sorry, 18 to 25, it's like we're really hard on them. It's like, everything's referential. Like when we were growing up, our heroes were Beverly Johnson and their heroes are like Jennifer Garner. And I'm like, so what? So what if their favorite movie is 13 on 30? That's weird. I don't know why they think that we're going to talk about this later.
That has
but
really come back around into fashion.
You know I'm right. Listen, Jennifer Garner is so iconic. I'm like, whatever. You think what you want to think. That's, But there's a reason why the 18 to 30 are so obsessed with millennials. There's a reason why. Because when I was growing up, I didn't care about what Gen X was doing. I didn't think about boomers. I didn't think about them at all. There's a reason why they're obsessed. There's a reason why. Because we don't care. Because we don't care. Because I really do feel like millennials don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
We wear what we want. We say what we want.
That's
we don't
true.
care. We don't care. Cugie. We don't care, like, eat, love, pray. They don't care. Who cares? I don't care if you don't like my boots. I don't care if you don't like my side part. I don't care.
No,
and
it's
I
true.
do think that the 18 to 30, it's hard for them to admit they do. They do care. They do want to say the right thing. They do want to do the right thing.
They do want to present themselves in a certain light at all times.
They don't want to fail.
No.
You have to fail, And I think that's the thing with AI. AI feels like this. If I just do what this says, I won't fail. Trying to talk to a 17-year-old about how to get somewhere without the phone. Oh, but this says you have to turn left here. No, we're just going to go rogue. And we're going to figure out how to get there. We're going to look the signs. Why are we going to do that? The anxiety in like a high schooler.
But you also, I think this might have to do with you being a chef as well, though. You seem to have a lot of like, I'm not saying this in a bad way, a lot of ability to use your time. Like
Sure.
I feel a sense of like rush all the time, and so for me and maybe these 18 to 30-year-olds as well.
I mean,
like
I feel
for them,
that
it's like
sense
I need City Mapper or whatever you guys
Sure.
use here because like I need to be the most efficient because I don't
Sure.
have time.
Sure.
But I think you have a real sense of like patience and intentionality, which is really I admire that and I want more of that in my life.
I'm a new mom, so like maybe I'd say trim the fat.
Yeah.
Fat after having a baby, I feel very trimmed the fat on that.
Yeah.
But I think I have this sense of that it's important to me instead of like, do I have time? It's important for me to make time.
Yeah.
It's important for me to figure out how to do that. When I look at my calendar or when I'm talking with Danny, who's my number two, or number one, I guess. It's important for us to look at that and say, how do we make time? That looks like saying no. That looks like challenging scarcity at every step. I firmly believe that what is meant for you will not miss you. Sorry to be woo-woo, but I really do believe that. Period. I really do believe that. Almost every situation that I've said no to, at the end, I'm like, whew. Thank God we didn't do that,
Dodge
right?
that bullet.
Did you see that?
We were literally
Holy
just talking
shit,
about that this morning.
Thank God we didn't do that. Like I really do believe that. I also think like, what's the goal? Like, what are we trying to do? I think sometimes you just get so in the hamster wheel that you forget.
Yeah, like what are your actual priorities,
Yeah, what
right?
are we
Versus
doing
like
this
what
for?
society is pressing upon you.
Yeah, like
to think you need
is
to
the
do.
goal to like buy a home, move upstate, or is it just to like go because everyone's going and then the FOMO of not being invited and you got to go to things, and I challenge that you got to be at everything. I'm like, how much networking did you really do at that thing you went to last night? How about instead send an intentional email, right? Have a phone call with this person and have a literal conversation, right? How about that? We can go back to that. How about instead of being mindful of our time is this doesn't need to be an email or of in person. This can just be a phone call. 30 minutes. Let's just have a chat with someone, and non-video. I don't need to see your face.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't need to see it. Just like, let's just chat about something.
The thing is, like, I'm agreeing with you so much, but I'm also like really questioning everything I do in my life. A 30-minute phone call with somebody, no video?
No video.
Oh man.
Do it. Call me one time. I'm not kidding. Just call me.
Oh, what will I say? What will we talk about?
Talk about like how we're talking right now.
The grocery list. You could help me with that.
We could talk about anything. You could say,
We could talk about our kids.
Listen, there's a woman, her name is Willow. She is a climate journalist. And she is consistently met with a lot of people like, oh, Willow, it's dark out here. It must be so hard. And she's like, I feel like my job as a climate journalist is to remind us all that we're alive.
Yeah.
You're alive. What a beautiful thing. So many people aren't anymore. Every day. So like, what would we talk about? We would just talk about the weather, talk about what you're wearing, talk about your hair. I mean, not to be so silly, but like, this is what the 18 to 25-year-olds don't know how to do. They don't know how to just talk about being alive. No videos, no cameras, no posting it, no nothing. Just be alive. It doesn't need to be monetized. It doesn't need to be, because you know what? The least interesting thing about you is what you do. Can I tell you that? It's the least interesting thing about you. The least interesting about everybody in here is like what they do for a living.
Yeah, I mean, that's
firmly
true,
believe
actually.
that. I firmly believe that. Everybody in here's got a little thing they do, a little funny thing they say, you know, or just like, what do you think about? Like, what's the stuff you used to like or listen to, or just doing it for doing its sake? I think that's another thing that AI really just takes from us. It
Yeah.
takes us from us.
Or like even coming back to like food. Like I would love to learn about like everybody's like cultural relationship to food, your backgrounds. There's nothing I love more. I'm going to see my godkids later today in New Jersey.
Oh, cute.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Cute.
And do you know it's going to be an hour and a half on the train?
Cute. What are you going to do with it?
I'm not going to use ChatGPT. I'm
You're
not going to be
gonna
working
do that.
anymore.
Maybe you like have a nice text conversation. Send someone a voice note. Tell someone
I
you're
could call
thinking of
you.
them.
We're
you
having
can
our
call
chat
me. You can call somebody. I'm not telling people not to be busy. Go ahead
Yeah.
and be busy.
Yeah.
It's what are you busy with?
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't be busy,
Yeah.
but don't be ChatGPT up its ass busy.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do that stuff. You got to do your PDFs, throw it into Claude, do that. But when you're done with that, be a human again.
Shut it down.
Come back to human.
Yeah.
Come back to having a conversation, figuring out what you like.
Community,
You know? Come back
creativity.
to caring about people, asking about people, paying attention, questioning things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't use it. It's happening. Know how to use it. Understand how it works. But also, like, don't be scared to be yourself either. This fear of efficiency and being the most efficient and being the most proficient can, before you know it, you end up just, where are you in all of it?
Yeah.
You know?
Fair.
I think that about that with food.
Yeah.
I don't believe that chefs are going to be replaced by AI. I think we have to have, that's a deeper conversation about mechanization, automation, farms being scalable and replicable, which should have never been. That shouldn't be. In the United States here, we grow for scale. We don't grow for taste, and we certainly don't grow for value. Right? That's something that the Norwegian countries do. That's something that you see in a lot of places, in particularly in Asia, Japan. They're definitely farming for taste, for value.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you mean by for value? Like financial value or like nutritional value?
For nutritional value.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when you look at an orange, even if it's organic, then you look at this varietal, and you understand that this varietal has been bred to be, you know, every kind of pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, right? Every kind of side proof, right? And has no vitamin C left in it.
Yeah.
You know, I very recently had a beautiful, like an avocado from California. Like, this is a California grown, like, wild avocado. I've never even seen an avocado like this.
A wild one.
Yeah, you can eat it. You can eat through the skin.
Oh.
Yeah, it's this type of, has a white flesh on it.
Can I ask you a question? Where did you get that?
I was in Orange County. My partner's from Orange County, and there was
Yeah.
like this sustainable farm.
Yeah.
Akiko Farms. It's like Japanese-owned farm, and we were there, and there was like a strawberry festival because it's strawberry season. But they had these crazy different varietals of avocado I'd never seen before. This smooth flesh, like almost like snakeskin flesh. I'd never seen anything like it. You bite through the skin. I could have like cried. It was like nutty and creamy, and like it was like, I don't know, it was amazing. Or like I went to Colombia on a work trip with my girl Danny. We were like on the side of a mountain, like picking coffee cherries, and we stayed in this with this family, these farmer family, and they like cooked for us. And the yuca and green bananas, oh my God, I'd never tasted anything like it. And it destroyed me, right? Because I come here and it's like, I can't make that. And I shouldn't, because green bananas are not in season, nor should they ever be in New York. Find me a pineapple at the farmer's market in New York. You won't, because pineapples don't grow here, right? But again, it's, like I said, this is the evil of like the mechanization in a scalable farm is like, I don't want to like go on like a full like Clinton administration bashing. I do think it was like trade, NAFTA, you know, around that administration is when we start seeing avocados everywhere.
Right.
I grew up in Florida, so I always saw them, so it's no big deal. I remember moving to New York and people being like, avocado toast in 2011. And I was like, that shit is nasty. I used to grow up on that shit. I hate that shit. You know, but because of that, we have access to things. We have a globalized food market.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that's really wonderful. But when we talk about how that's negative for our environment, we really have to talk about it. And that's that whole like ethical thing. Like, is an avocado ethical in New York?
Yeah.
You know, it's not. But
No.
people, there's avocado on the menu, regardless.
Yeah.
At every restaurant.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, this is amazing. It's really interesting. I'm going to ask you some hot take questions or topics, and you are going to let us know if you think they're ethical or questionable.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'm going to know what you're going to say about this one. But I'm going to start with Chipotle. And let me tell you why. Chipotle. Okay. I remember when I was in college, so like 2008 to 2012 sort of time, there was this ad or like this short film that came out. It would have been on YouTube, and it was a Chipotle ad, and it was like a scarecrow, and it was like 4 minutes long, and it was a Fiona Apple song. Why are you laughing?
Which is crazy.
A Fiona Apple song. She was singing like really like harrowing, like dark, the Willy Wonka song or whatever, like, or something really. And so this cartoon scarecrow is like working in a factory, and like the chickens are being like injected to like blow up, and like it's really dark, and then he's like really sad, and he wants to go out to the sunshine, and so he finally like leaves the factory, and he goes and he starts his own little farm, and then he has his little farm stand in the big factory city, and then at the end he hands over a Chipotle burrito. But I've thought about this ad for 20 years. I sometimes play it because I like the song, and it's just very touching. But so anyways, I guess the idea of what Chipotle is trying to say there is that we believe in whole foods. Thoughts?
That is so insane. You really got me with that one. First off, listen, anything that is, not to go back to that, but anything that is so heavily scaled, right, and replicated, the same Chipotle burrito in every single state has to taste the same and look the
London.
same and be the same. And also the whole like grass-fed beef, and then you look a little closer and they fly in the beef from Australia. I'm like, of course it's questionable. Of course it's
fair.
questionable. Like,
Okay, next one. Supper clubs.
supper clubs.
Do you know they have supper clubs here? Of course they do.
Are they ethical?
It's about community. It's about food experiences, bring people together.
I don't know if supper clubs are all about community, my love.
Okay.
As somebody who's worked in fine dining, I think a lot of it is about like the person. It's about the chef. Listen, I love a pop-up. I think that's very fun. And I think in a time where it is damn near impossible for chefs to be able to get funding to open up their own restaurant, especially if they're a woman, especially if they're black, especially if they're queer, I think having a supper club can be that can be the literal way you feed yourself, right? And it can also be a way that you share your culture. It can be a way that you communicate your culture to people who otherwise wouldn't understand it or wouldn't know about it. That said, I do think that there can be a supper club I think supper clubs can also be gross and elitist, and like we're flying in ingredients from Italy, and we're not actually honoring the place that we are on, the land that we're on. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think
it depends. I think it depends.
Okay.
I think it depends.
All right, fair. Okay, I think we've actually already covered this one, but I'm going to ask again anyways.
What?
So, not that I make my entire grocery list on AI anymore. I tried that once, didn't work. But occasionally, I'll look in the fridge. I'll be like, look, I don't want to waste food, so I don't want to go to the shop now. I've got stuff here, but I'm not a chef. I'm not super creative. I'm going to put into ChatGPT. I've got 3 onions, some pasta, this, that. Give me some ideas. Ethical or questionable?
You need some cookbooks.
Yeah.
You should buy some cookbooks.
They're pretty as well.
You should buy some cookbooks from some people that have dedicated their entire lives to making recipes that work, that are smart. And once you read them, maybe once or twice, you'll remember them. And then you never will have that problem again. And you'll be able to look at an onion, 3 onions, a box of pasta, some beans, and some lemons and know exactly what to do because you've done it once. And if you've done it once, you can do it many times.
Yeah, I guess my challenge is, too, I want to make the best thing possible for my family. And that's why I'm like, I have to ask ChatGPT.
Well, also, why does ChatGPT know what the best things possible? How does it know that? Them recipes are shit. And
they weren't good.
I hear you on like, well, they'll improve it. They'll get better. It's like when people say, well, eventually AI is not going to need all these like data centers, and it's not going to need to use all this water. Okay, well, what do we do with the billions and billions of acres of data centers that we then have that are now what? What are they?
You know what? That's such a good point,
Just containers? They're just out, just eating up rural farmland? Like, we don't need those anymore. Like,
That's actually such a good point too, because instead of like, I guess, investing my money, time, energy, attention into like something that a person has created via a beautiful cookbook full of culture, full of experiences, putting my funding into that, I'm actually putting my attention into ChatGPT, which is like giving Sam Altman and his like rainforest destroying habits.
do you know?
More power.
I'm just saying, I just think that we really...
And then the recipe's shit anyways.
It's always shit.
All right,
we just
definitely
have to look at the
questionable.
top down.
That's
you just have
it.
to look at who... When you buy a cookbook, you're supporting a human.
Yes.
But when you use ChatGPT, I don't even know what you're doing.
Killing a fish. For
and,
what?
And using up some water.
That's
and again,
not right.
I understand that in the future, AI will become efficient enough to not need all of these data centers. But then I ask, then what? Then what?
Yeah.
And then what? And also these data centers, they have to be thrown up so quickly. I don't know why we can't, like, why is there not like rooftop gardens on every single fucking one of them? You know, like, why are they all not floors? Why are they all one level? And they're just disgusting looking. Like, I don't know. Somebody, I have to say, somebody sent me a message, and this was amazing when I asked about AI. And she was an environmental architect. Her job is to create architecture that is ethically and environmentally sound.
Yep.
Based on the area. She's like, the amount of times that we almost get a job for these data centers. We present a beautiful proposal. This could fit. We could put farm in. The problem is it takes too long. And they say no, because bottom line, they need these data centers up now. They want them up today. They don't want this to take 3 years, right? But doing it low and slow is how you do something that actually accommodates the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that's a different podcast. But
Yeah. We actually had, when I was running sustainability here, we had a bunch of proposals for people who wanted to put data centers underneath the swimming pools to then heat the pools. And the water would cool the systems. I mean, very elitist, right? For your rooftop pool to be like the climate solution.
Hotels,
but like
if you're a hotel, I mean, I guess if you're a hotel and like, I don't know.
it didn't happen anyways, of course.
I mean,
not.
of course it didn't, because it would take too long to figure out. Somebody has to figure it out. It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to put it in practice.
Yeah. Okay. Ozempic.
Yeah, that's not my beat. I have nothing to say about Ozempic. I'm not a medical care provider. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that I can tell that a lot of people are using it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We live in this time where everybody comments on everybody's bodies all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just like, do whatever you want to do with your body.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
I just don't really care.
Especially
as a person in a thin body.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I
have much
asked
to say.
you that one because I had a restaurateur on the show in London last week, and he basically told me that one of his biggest challenges with food waste is that people are coming to his restaurant, which is like one of the like hottest restaurants in London at the moment, and they're all on Ozempic, so they're ordering food and they're having one bite, and then it's just like being wasted nonstop. And he's like, I actually fucking hate this. And he's like, I'm gonna make an Ozempic menu.
That's actually wise. That's wise. I mean, that's interesting. I had not.
He's like, I'm going to call it something nice, like, small plates or something. But it's literally to like stop people from like ordering my chef's delicious food and then fucking trashing it because I can't eat anything.
I just think that's also like a personality thing because, gosh, like what kind of person are you that you just order food and you're so okay with it just going in the trash?
Yeah.
Like I think that's more of like a personality problem.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, Ozempic.
It's wasteful on so many levels.
It's like a medication that was designed for people who have diabetes, essentially. So we need it. Like we got to have it. But I feel like the way that it's pushed down our throats, like gosh, the Super Bowl, it was just like every commercial was like AI or Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever, right?
Weird.
Like it was just
like this is our society now.
I know.
It's weird,
it just feels so. It just feels icky. Like
I'm sure Ozempic isn't sustainably made either, but I've not looked into that yet. But I can only imagine.
I just think that we're what are we fixated on?
Yeah.
Like I hate that I have so many girlfriends who are like their big question in life is like, should I do Ozempic or not? Should I do? And I'm like, you are so fucking brilliant. You're brilliant. You're brilliant. You're so educated. You have all of these amazing qualities, and all day, all you think about is being thin. It's just so. It actually makes me so sick. And I say this from a point of privilege. I've been thin my whole life.
Yeah.
I was thin during my pregnancy. I've never had disordered eating. I eat whatever I want. So I'm saying it from that lens. And I just have to be because for people that are listening, like
Yeah,
I just
sure.
think it's important to have that context. Like
Yeah.
there's a bit of privilege in that. I don't have to think about that.
Yeah.
That said, I think when we're talking about who is using Ozempic
Yeah.
and how they're using it, I think for me, I'm worried about the idea of like coming off of it. Like, you can't take it forever.
Yeah, I guess there's not enough data or anything about that
And I
yet.
think that's worrisome to be, when you go all in on something so new,
Careful.
I worry.
Okay, last one, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Let's go.
I was going to say Deliveroo. What's it called here? DoorDash. Ethical or questionable?
Well, I think the packaging is a problem, but I do think it's getting better.
Okay.
I also think that I would urge people, and I know this probably sounds really weird. God, you guys are going to think I'm so weird. You got to start getting to know these door guys. Some of them are really nice people.
Oh,
like
yeah,
truly.
nice.
I always write in my, like when I was pregnant and I would have to get something delivered, I live in a 4th-floor walk-up, but I would always be like, I'm so sorry. I'm in a 4th-floor walk-up. It was a late night. Again, these are
They
those
come
things.
upstairs here?
They would come upstairs.
Yeah.
And some of them, I got my boy Muhammad. That's my boy. Anytime I see him, I'm like, yeah, that's my boy.
How do you always get the same person?
I think a lot of it is
a feature.
No, I think a lot of it for me is because it's like the same place around the same time.
Right.
Like it's coming from the same place.
Okay.
Like I might go by work. I get off at the train and get some spring bone, but like say I'm busy. Again, these are these things that like
Yeah.
it's like the plastic cup. Like I
Yeah,
feel bad
yeah.
about it, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
also like, okay, we're doing it. We're
Yeah.
getting it.
Okay.
At least I can support this guy. I can shoot him $30, right? I can give him a big tip or whatever.
What are you having delivered? Food? Because I guess I was thinking about like takeaway, we call it in England.
No.
Like Chinese.
Yeah, like it
Food.
would be like if I wanted like some really good Thai. If I wanted like fish cheeks or something.
You're not getting like groceries.
No, I would just go to the store.
Okay.
I would go to the store.
Yeah.
If I am doing that, it's specific for a job. Like
Okay.
it's like a shoot. We need the groceries delivered. We have to have an invoice for it. Like
Right.
It's something like that.
Right.
Like it's like a food styling job or something like that. But like I think having a conversation with some of these people, thank you so much. Hi, how are you? Leaving a good tip. Like you don't know who these people's situations.
That's true.
So I think when you are doing it, we're New Yorkers. People are ordering delivery all the time. Just I think throwing people an extra few bucks, actually looking people in the eye,
Yeah.
saying thank you so much.
Yeah.
Maybe if you are able to walk down your stairs and go meet them, save them the trip. Like these are human beings. They, to not do it at all. I mean, there's like people that rely on this income. Like this is a job in New York City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
the pandemic really, and I got to tell you, not one restaurant in New York besides fast casual wants to be on Caviar, wants to be on DoorDash. They don't want to do that. But again, we're in this time where it's like now if you're going to be competitive, if you're going to make money, you have to be.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because the quality is just never as good with delivery food.
That is so true, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so before we wrap it up, this show is all about trying to figure out how we can have everything we want in life without fucking up the planet and the people on it. So if you got one big takeaway from our chat today, which has really spanned the gambit of
No, sorry.
food, politics, AI, delivery, avocados, kids, ChatGPT,
They all
recipes.
It
What's
all
the one
intersects.
takeaway? How can we have everything we want in life and be better for people and better for planet?
I have a baby, and looking at her, something I think about all the time is don't steal the struggle. I watch her figure it out.
Yeah.
I want to go in there and just hand her that
Yeah.
thing she's trying to grab. But she always ends up being able to grab it, and she's stronger and better off for it. She's
Yeah.
at this age where, a role turns into being able to carry the body up, means being able to lift yourself up and push yourself up, or I could just pick her up. And
Yeah.
I think, what am I starving her of when I just pick her up? Then she gets behind, and then she's not able to meet her milestones. She's not able to crawl at a
Yeah.
certain time, and she's not able to walk at a certain time. And I just think we can steal our struggle into a place where we become weak, where we become this apathy. Can feel really hard to get out of.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my biggest piece of advice. Don't steal your struggles. Your struggles are good. They make you strong. They make you brilliant. They make you you. Being able to figure out a problem is it's empowering. That's a positive thing.
100%. All right. You've been amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You have talked a lot, which has been amazing.
I know, I'm so chatty. I'm still loquacious. I'm very loquacious.
Loquacious. Okay, well, we'll shut the mics off anyways, and I think we're around for a bit if you guys want to say hi. Thanks, everyone. Right, guys, so that's the episode with Sophia Roe. I had a blast with her. She is obviously so funny and so cool and just very, very inspiring and thought-provoking. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as well. My two takeaways were, one, about the value of food. Again, like if we're spending more on like a chicken, for example, right? Like then surely we're incentivized to like use every bit of that chicken. Like that chicken is not like spoiling in the fridge. Actually, somebody came up to me at the end of the show and said like this is her approach, right? Is that she gets the more expensive groceries, but she makes them last the whole week or whatever because she actually uses every bit of it. It doesn't like rot in her fridge and then she's getting takeaway anyways and spending more anyways, right? So she's like really into like all the different things that you can do with the chicken in terms of like different meals and meal prep and different recipes and extending its like its usage, right? Which I thought was a really interesting way to look at it. Because then that $40, if it's, you know, across X amount of meals versus $5, which is across just one meal, kind of ending up in the same place, really, aren't you? And you're doing better for people, better for planet. The other takeaway that I really had from that conversation was the whole cookbook versus chat GPT thing. I think I've definitely decided that I'll buy more cookbooks because I get the chance to invest my like attention, energy, money, thoughtfulness into something that somebody who I'm excited to hear from has created. There's so many different amazing like chefs and recipe writers from around the world who are sharing their culture with us. Like, why would I want to not experience that and enjoy it? Like, that's surely the good life, right? Is like getting to like dive into that sort of stuff versus like giving Sam Altman another $1 and killing a fish by, asking ChatGPT for recipes. So I'm sold on the cookbooks. Definitely going to pick up a few. I'm going to start light, guys, because like I said, I'm not the chef in my house. But I'm really, really excited to like give it a go. So there we go. That's the episode. We'll be back with you guys next week on Tuesday. And yeah, I'll see you then. Thanks for being here. Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode of Ethically Questionable. For more info, thoughts, ideas, conversation starters, you can follow me, your host Jamila, at Jamila Faye.